The cafes were crowded in South Beirut to gauge the mood of the Hezbollah leader, who was giving an unscheduled speech after 2 days of deadly explosions across Lebanon. The leader's speeches typically attract hundreds of supporters in public gatherings. Not this time, perhaps considered too much of a security risk now. He broadcasts remotely from a secret location for the same reason.
The enemy crossed in this operation all the rules, laws and red lines. They didn't care about anything at all, not morally, humanely or legally.
Mid-speech, Israeli jets flew over the capital, causing loud sonic booms. This happens often now, but few saw the timing as coincidental, and most Lebanese see this as a show of force during an especially anxious time. Soldiers are now positioned outside the main hospitals, which are still crowded with casualties and worried relatives and friends. And doctors are concerned about how they'll cope if there are more emergencies. So how prepared are you right now?
We are actually very prepared in terms of, restocking our supplies, in terms of having our personnel all in alert and available to us. But, if a war starts, there is no enough preparedness that anybody can have. It's going to break the back of every single person and every single institution, and we're not different.
Surgeons have flown in from abroad to help, including 2 from Britain, one who spent months in Gaza treating the war wounded.
The idea of booby-trapping a pager. And yesterday we were taking out pieces of screws and springs from people's eyes, from their hands, from their faces. Is a kind of diabolical idea.
Some of the injured, including children, have been transferred to Iran, Hezbollah's strongest ally in the region. Pictures from the Iranian news agency showed the head of the Revolutionary Guards visiting them. He's promised a crushing response from the so-called Axis of Resistance against Israel. The explosion of so many pagers and handheld radios in public places has raised considerable alarm about a further dangerous escalation, with Britain's Foreign Secretary again warning British nationals to leave Lebanon whilst commercial options remain. The powerful fighting group designated a terror outfit by the UK and US is still burying its dead. Its fervent supporters view those killed as heroes, and they're laid to rest in a martyr's graveyard. The last few days have been the deadliest for Hezbollah since October the 7th, with dozens killed and hundreds of their fighters and supporters potentially maimed, as well as their communication network, all but seriously compromised. It's hard to see this as anything other than a complete disaster for the fighting group. It's almost inconceivable that they won't hit back. Hezbollah loyalists are convinced there'll be a strong response and refuse to contemplate failure. We're not worried, she told me, just sad our men weren't killed on the front lines, but killed instead in shops. She went on, whoever sees children losing their eyes is going to be sad, but soon you'll witness our revenge and victory. The cross-border attacks from Hezbollah and Israel have ratcheted up in the last few days, as Israeli officials announced a new phase of the war to return its residents to the north. In several visits to the border, we've seen communities on both sides emptied and destroyed. The Hezbollah leader has warned the Israelis they won't let them return. No killings, no assassinations, no all-out war can return residents to the border, Hezbollah has said. And that seems to signal there'll be no let-up in the deaths and devastation.